Okay, so today we'll discuss hip joint. So we will discuss under these headings. First, the type of joint. Hip joint is important for your theory. Long question, okay? Hip joint. Type of joint asked in your viva also, bones fiber, articular surfaces forming the joint, ligaments of the joint. Ligaments come in your long question, okay? And the movements and muscle involved in the movements are very, very important. So ligaments, a relation of the joints, blood supply, nerve supply, movement and different applied aspects. Applied aspects are important as a part of the long question or explain why questions. Okay. So what type of joint is hip joint? It is a ball and socket variety of synovial joint and it is multi-axial. Multi-axial means movement occurs under different axes. Here movement is occurring around three axes, okay? One antero-posterior axis, one transverse axis, one vertical axis, okay? Hip joint has high mobility with high stability, okay? It has to carry the body weight also, so it also needs stability and also there is need of mobility. So articular surfaces are head of femur and acetabulum and these are reciprocal to each other but coextensive. And head of femur forms more than half of a sphere and it is covered by articular hyaline cartilage. See, this is head of femur covered with articular hyaline cartilage except at the fovea capitis here near the center of the head. There is a depression you have seen. So this depression is the fovea capitis. Okay. Here one ligament is attached, ligamentum teres femoris, and through which passes the blood vessels supplying the head. Next surface is the acetabulum. See, this is acetabulum. There is a horseshoe-shaped articular area. So, horseshoe-shaped lunate surface that is articular and covered by hyaline cartilage. White colored represents the hyaline cartilage and deep notch with narrow mouth. See, in the middle there is a deep notch with a narrow mouth and this mouth is breached by a ligament, transverse acetabular ligament, and this notch is known as acetabular notch and here is a depression that is known as acetabular fossa and which contains fibrofatty tissue. Okay. So next we are going to the ligaments. Articular surfaces, ligaments, all this comes in your long question. Okay. So ligaments are fibrous capsule, iliofemoral ligament, pubofemoral ligament, ischiofemoral ligament, ligament of head of femur, acetabular labrum and the transverse acetabular ligament. See, near the head of the femur attached is the ligament of head of femur or ligamentum teres femoris. Okay. Here is the transverse acetabular ligament, another ligament we will see next. Here is the attachment of iliofemoral ligament, ischiofemoral ligament like this, and along the margin there will be attachment of the acetabular labrum and here is the iliofemoral ligament. Okay. So first we will discuss the fibrous capsule, okay, and this ilio, ischio and pubofemoral ligament, these are blending with the fibrous capsule on different aspects. Some is antero superior, some is inferomedial and like this, okay. So this is capsule surrounded by these three ligaments. So attachment of the capsule on the hip bone, the capsule is attached to the acetabular labrum. Here is the attachment of acetabular labrum and including the transverse acetabular ligament and to the bone above and behind the acetabulum. And on the femur, the capsular ligament is attached to the, this is very frequently asked in your bones viva also. Show me the attachment of capsular ligament of the hip joint. Okay. So on the femur it is attached to the intertrochanteric line in front and 1 centimeter medial to the intertrochanteric crest behind. Okay. Next, fibrous capsule is thick anterosuperiorly and which part is subjected to maximum tension during standing position. It is thin and loosely attached posterior-inferiorly, and it has two types of fibers, outer longitudinal, inner circular. Outer longitudinal, many of them reflect to the neck of femur and known as the retinacula. And this retinacula contains blood vessels supplying the head and neck of the femur. An inner circular fiber is also known as zona orbicularis. Okay. So outer longitudinal fiber is known as retinacula. Inner circular fibers are known as zona orbicularis. Next, we are going to the synovial membrane. So this is a synovial joint. So there will be synovial membrane, synovial fluid, and other features of the synovial joint. So synovial membrane, it lines the synovial membrane, it lines the fibrous capsule. Okay, here is the fibrous capsule. So this cavity is the synovial cavity, red colored one. Okay, so whole of the cavity is lined by a thin membrane that is known as synovial membrane. So it lines the fibrous capsule, intracapsular portion of neck, intracapsular portion of neck of femur, both surface of the acetabular labrum. This is acetabular labrum attached at the acetabular margin. Okay, both surface, superior, inferior surfaces of the acetabular labrum. Transverse ligament located inferiorly. Fat in the acetabular fossa. Here lies the fat in the acetabular fossa, and round ligament of the head of femur. Here is the attachment of round ligament of head of the femur at the fovea capitis. Next, we are going to joint cavity. Joint cavity communicates with the subtendinous bursa beneath the tendon of psoas major through a circular opening in the capsule between the pivofemoral and vertical band of iliofemoral ligaments. Okay. Next, we are going to other ligament. So, fibrous capsule, we have discussed synovial membrane. Okay. Next is iliofemoral ligament. See here, it is Y-shaped. Okay. Stem of the Y is attached here and two limbs are attached here. So, inverted Y-shaped triangular ligament, iliofemoral ligament. It is also known as ligament of Bigelow. Okay. These terms are important for your MCQ. Next is, it is the strongest ligament of the body and register trunk falling backward in standing posture. Apex is attached to the lower half of anterior superior iliac spine. Here is the apex. Base is attached to the intertrochanteric line. Here, intertrochanteric line, base is attached. And the upper, it has two types of fibers, upper oblique fiber and lower vertical fibers. This one is upper oblique fiber, here is lower vertical fibers. They form thick, strong bands, while the middle fibers are thin and weak. Okay. Next is pivofemoral ligament. It supports the joint inferomedially. Okay. Here is this part is the pivofemoral ligament, supports the joint inferomedially. It is also triangular, superiorly attached to the iliopubic eminence. This prominence is iliopubic eminence. Obturator crest and obturator membrane. This is superior attachment. And inferiorly, it marches with the antero-inferior part of the capsule and lower band of the iliofemoral ligament. Okay, this one was iliofemoral ligament. Next is ischiofemoral ligament. This is located posteriorly. Okay, this part is the ischiofemoral ligament. So comparatively weak and covers the joint posteriorly. Here you can see the intertrochanteric crest, so it is posterior surface. So fibers are twisted and extend from the ischium posterior-inferior to the acetabulum and form the zona orbicularis. Okay, inner circular fibers, and few fibers to the attached to the greater trochanter here, greater trochanter. Next is ligament of head of femur. Here, this one is ligament of head of femur. This is also known as round ligament or ligamentum teres femoris. All these names you remember. Okay. It is a flat triangular ligament. Apex is attached at the fovea capitis. Base is attached at the transverse ligament and margin of the acetabular notch. Here is the base is attached. Okay, here ligament has been cut and it is a very thin and even absent in some of the cases. It transmits the arteries to the head of femur from the acetabular branches of the obturator and medial circumflex femoral arteries. Okay. Next, we are going to acetabular labrum. See, this is acetabular cavity. Along the margin of the cavity, one cartilage plate or fibrous structure is attached, that is known as the acetabular labrum. So, fibrocartilaginous rim attached to the margins of the acetabulum, it is known as acetabular labrum. It narrows the mouth of the acetabulum and which helps in holding the head of femur in position. Okay, so here this is the acetabular labrum. You can see here, and see in the acetabular fossa, fibrofatty tissues are present. Okay, and this is ligament of head of femur, transverse acetabular ligament. Next is transverse acetabular ligament, a part of the acetabular labrum which bridges the acetabular notch, but it has no cartilage cells, only fibrous. The notch thus converted into a foramen and transmits the vessels, acetabular vessels and nerve to the joint. Okay, so this represents the passage, acetabular foramen, through which vessels and nerves are passing. Here you can see the vessels, also nerve will pass, okay, to supply this joint. Next we are going to different relations. This is a sagittal section through the hip joint. Anterior relation is lateral fibers of the pectineus covered by the femoral vein. Okay, here is the pectineus with the femoral vein, iliopsoas with femoral nerve separating the iliacus bursa from the femoral artery. Here is the iliacus psoas major, iliacus psoas major, pectineus. These are forming anterior relation. And straight head of rectus femoris. Here is the rectus femoris, covering the deep layer of iliotibial tract. Next, posterior relation. These muscles are lying posteriorly. So here is the quadratus femoris. This is tricipital tendon, obturator internus, and the gemelli superior and inferior. Okay. So quadratus femoris covering the obturator externus and the ascending branch of medial circumflex femoral artery. Okay, here this is ascending branch of medial circumflex femoral artery. And obturator internus with two gemelli separate the sciatic nerve from the nerve to quadratus femoris and the piriformis. This is piriformis. So all these structures are forming posterior relation. Next is superior. Superiorly lies the reflected head of rectus femoris, here covered by gluteus minimus. This one is gluteus minimus, forming superior relation. Next is inferior. Here is an inferior lateral fibers of pectineus and obturator externus. Okay, here lies the pectineus and obturator externus. So these are the relations of the hip joint. Relations are not much important, just you have to know. Next is the blood supply. Blood supply is obturator artery. Okay, two circumflex femoral arteries, two gluteal arteries, medial and lateral circumflex femoral arteries form a arterial circle around the capsular attachment on the neck of femur. See here, this is lateral circumflex femoral artery and posteriorly medial circumflex femoral artery. They are forming a circle here, and from the circle these fine arteries are going to supply the head. These are retinacular arteries. Okay. So retinacular arteries arise from this circle and supply the intracapsular neck and greater part of the head of the femur. In case of fracture of the neck of femur, these retinacular arteries are lost. Okay, so and there is necrosis of the head of the femur, that is known as avascular necrosis of head of femur after fracture neck of the femur. Okay, why it occurs you have understood. You have to know the blood supply. Okay. And a small part of the head near the fovea here, this artery near the fovea capitis is supplied by the acetabular branch of the obturator and medial circumflex femoral artery. So this is the blood supply of the joint, hip joint. Okay. See here the two lateral circumflex femoral artery, medial circumflex femoral artery forming a circle around the head and neck, and these are the retinacular artery arising from the circle supplying the head, and near the fovea capitis one single branch passing through this ligament of head of femur. Okay. So this is the blood supply. Next we are going to nerve supply. Hip joint is supplied by the femoral nerve through the nerve to rectus femoris. Anterior division of obturator nerve, accessory obturator nerve if present, nerve to quadratus femoris, and two superior gluteal nerves. All these are supplying the hip joint. Okay. Next we are going to movements. Movements are very important, and the muscles involved in the movement, it comes in your theory. Okay, ligaments are important for theory, and movements and the muscle involved in the movements. So what movements occurring in this joint? Flexion and extension occurs around a transverse axis. Okay, so this will be flexion of hip joint and this will be the extension. Okay. And abduction, adduction, you know, this will be abduction, adduction. Okay. And medial rotation, lateral rotation. So these are the movements occurring, and also can occur circumduction. Circumduction will be the rotation. Okay. So you have to know the muscles involved. So you remember the axis, flexion, extension occurring around a transverse axis. This is anteriorly flexion, posteriorly extension. So around the transverse axis. Abduction, adduction occurring around the anterior-posterior axis. Movement is like this. Okay. And medial and lateral rotation occurring around a vertical axis, medial and lateral rotations. And circumduction is combination of all these movements. So flexion is done by psoas major and iliacus. Okay. Extension is done by gluteus maximus and hamstring muscles. Adduction is done by adductor longus, brevis and magnus. Abduction is done by gluteus medius and minimus. Medial rotation by the tensor fascia lata and the anterior fibers of the gluteus medius and minimus. And lateral rotation is done by two obturators, two gemelli and the quadratus femoris. Okay, so these are the different movements and the muscle involved. So this slide is very important. And see the muscles have been represented schematically here. This is the joint acetabular cavity, head of femur. This is the center of rotation. Okay, so these muscles, tensor fascia lata, gluteus minimus and gluteus medius, anterior fibers, they are doing medial rotation. These fibers, these muscles are doing lateral rotation. This quadratus femoris, gluteus maximus, and these are also involved. This superior and inferior gemelli, piriformis, okay, and this one is obturator externus. So green colored one, they are doing lateral rotation, and the pink colored one, they are doing the medial rotation at the hip joint. Okay. Now we are going to different clinical aspects. Okay, so all the clinical aspects are important. First is different diseases of hip joint occurring at different age groups. Okay, so you have to know the age of the patient to identify the disease condition. So below 5 years, congenital dislocation of hip joint and tuberculosis hip joint is very important. At 5 to 10 years of age, Perthes disease of hip occurs. To 20 years, coxa vera occurs, and above 40 years, generally osteoarthritis. Okay, so these are the age pattern of different diseases of hip joint. So in congenital dislocation of hip joint, see here, this is normally placed hip joint, and this is normally head is located in the acetabular cavity, and here it is displaced upward and posteriorly. Okay, so it is more common in the hip than any other joint of the body, this dislocation, and the head of congenital dislocation, and the head of the femur slips upward onto the gluteal surface, onto the ilium, because the upper margin of acetabulum is developmentally decent in the children, and this causes lurching gait, and the Trendelenburg test is positive. Okay, see in this X-ray you can visualize the dislocation. Here it is dislocated, and on this side it is in normal location. Okay, and this is of a X-ray of a child. You can see the epiphyseal lines. Epiphyseal lines are not fused. Okay, so see there will be Trendelenburg gait or lurching gait. Patient will walk like this. Okay, this is normal walking pattern, normal spinal alignment, and here due to dislocation on this side, there will be abnormal spinal curvature and Trendelenburg gait. Okay, this side is disease side. Patient tend to bend towards the normal side. Okay. Next is tuberculosis of hip joint, osseous destruction and marrow edema involving the bones forming the hip articulation along with synovial collection and reduced joint space. These are the features of tuberculosis of hip joint here. This in this joint tuberculosis have occurred. Joint space is covered with the edema fluid, osseous destruction, there is blackening of the bone, and edema have also occurred. Okay, and this is CT scan of TB hip. Okay, next is Perthes disease or pseudocoxalgia. Here head is destroyed. It is characterized by destruction and flattening of the head of femur with an increased joint space in the X-ray picture. Here this is normal hip, normal joint space. Here you can see the increased joint space and head is destroyed, fragmented like this. Okay, flattened femoral head. Achha. Next is coxa vera and coxa valga. Okay, this is normal position, this is coxa vera, this is coxa valgum. Okay, so a condition in which the neck shaft angle is reduced, this is neck shaft angle, this in between the axis of neck, axis of the shaft, this is neck shaft angle. Normally it is 120 to 135 degree. If it is reduced less than 120, it is known as coxa vera. More than 135, it is known as coxa valga. Okay, so a condition in which neck shaft angle is reduced from the normal of about 150 degree in children and 127 degree in the adult, and these changes are occurring in valga and vera. Okay, next is osteoarthritis. Osteoarthritis is disease of old age, and it is characterized by growth of osteophytes at the articular ends. Okay, you can see this is normal hip, normal synovial cavity, articular surface is normal, and here you can see this articular cartilage is being destroyed, and the osteophyte growth of some bony spicules like structures will develop on both of the articular surfaces. Okay, these are known as osteophytes. So osteoarthritis is characterized by growth of osteophytes at the articular ends, and which make the movements limited, and there is movement, during movement there will be grating sound due to friction between these osteophytes. Okay, and there will be movement is painful. Osteoarthritis can occur in any other joints also, knee joint, a shoulder joint, like this. Okay, in old age. So these will be the feature, growth of osteophytes and this destruction of this articular cartilage. Next, injuries to the hip joint, different fractures. Okay, so in young age, green stick fractures occur of the neck, and displacement of the head of femur is more common. In adulthood, dislocation of hip joint is more common, and in old age, fracture of neck of femur is very common. Okay, you will see patients of fracture of neck of femur. Then there is placement of prosthesis. You have to place prosthesis because after fracture neck femur, there will be avascular necrosis of the head. Okay, so you have to hip replacement is done. So dislocation of hip, this is the explain why question. Why dislocation of the hip occurs posteriorly and superiorly? So it may be posteriorly most common and anterior less common. And also central dislocation. Central dislocation, it will push through the acetabular cavity into the towards the pelvic cavity. Okay. So the sciatic nerve may be injured in posterior dislocations. Okay, that's why it is clinically important. And there will be pain. If sciatic nerve is a large nerve on the back of the thigh, back of the leg, okay, so it will cause severe pain. Next is fracture of neck of femur. This individually come as a short note. Fracture of neck of femur as a part of the long question. Okay, it may be different types of fracture neck is there. It is maybe subcapital. Fracture line is near the head. Cervical in the middle of the neck and basal near the trochanters. So damage to the retinacular arteries occurs, causes avascular necrosis of the head, and such damage is maximum in subcapital and least damage in basal fractures of the neck. And the fractures are common in old age between 40 to 60 years of age. And fracture neck of femur is usually produced by trivial injuries like tripping over some minor obstruction. Okay, mainly patient comes with history fall in the bathroom or fall over the ground, and there is fracture. Okay, patient cannot stand up after falling. Patient falls down and cannot get up, and the limb lies helplessly rolled out. It is limb is rotated outside as if paralyzed, and X-ray confirms the diagnosis. Okay, see the different types of fracture of the neck near the head. Okay, there will be the subcapital fracture. Capita means head, subcapital. Transcervical means near the middle of the neck. Near the base, near the trochanters, this is basal fracture. Okay, and this is intertrochanteric fracture involving the trochanters. Peritrochanteric surrounding the trochanters, and subtrochanteric below the trochanters. Okay, so all these are varieties of fracture of the neck of the femur. Okay, these three are variety of neck of fracture, and these are trochanteric fractures. Okay, trochanteric fractures are intertrochanteric fracture between the trochanters, peritrochanteric fracture along the trochanters, and subtrochanteric fracture below the trochanters. And these fractures occur in strong. This neck fracture occurs with trivial injury in old patients, and this trochanteric fractures occurs in adult strong patients. Fracture occurs in strong adult subjects and produced by severe violent injuries, mainly road traffic accident. Okay. Next is shortening of lower limb occurs by fracture or dislocation or in tuberculosis, and the length of the lower limb is measured from the anterior superior iliac spine to the medial malleolus. These are point of importance for surface marking: anterior superior iliac spine and the medial malleolus. Okay. Next is Senton's line. See this dotted line, this is known as Senton's line. Okay, it in case of fracture of the neck of femur or in dislocation, this line is broken. Okay, so during X-ray, viewing of X-ray of the hip joint, you have to note this line if it is continuous or not. Lower margin of neck of femur and the upper margin of the obturator foramen lying in the same curved line. Okay, Senton's line. Another is Nelaton's line. Here, this line is Nelaton's line. Okay, this anterior superior iliac spine, center of head of femur, and the ischial tuberosity lying in the same straight line, that is known as Nelaton's line, and Bryant's triangle is formed by these lines. Okay, patient in lying down position, line is drawn from anterior superior iliac spine to head of femur, from and another line is drawn from anterior superior iliac spine toward the bed, and one perpendicular is drawn from head of femur to this line. So this triangle is known as Bryant's triangle. This is disrupted during any disease condition of the hip, like fracture or dislocation or other disease conditions. Okay, so that's why these are important. Disease of the hip like tuberculosis may cause referred pain in the knee because of common nerve supply of the two joints. This is important. Explain why question. Okay, why disease of the knee is referred to the hip, or disease of the hip referred to the knee because of the same nerve supply. Okay, that's all. So these clinical aspects are important for your explain why and part of the long question. So you prepare the hip joint as a long question. It's different ligaments, articular surfaces, muscles forming having different movements, and the muscles involved in these movements. Okay, these are comes generally in your long question, and relation you know for your dissection purpose or other, and other the small topics we have discussed important for your explain why. Okay, the clinical aspects: fracture neck, femur, TB hip, Perthes disease, coxa vara, coxa valga, all this comes. Neck septal angle. Okay, understood?